Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast, the voice of Shrewsbury, apparently. I'm your host, Alex Whiteley, and the Biscuiteer joining me today is Shane. How's it going, Shane? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm having a bit of an internet crisis today. It's pretty much out across Shrewsbury, I believe.
Yeah, I did see.
Apparently, it's supposed to be fixed by about 1:30.
Can you imagine being the guy responsible for that? Like, you drill through the wire, and it's like, I just cut off the internet for the whole town.
Yeah, right on top of lockdown when everybody's supposed to be homeschooling, and things. I know it's Saturday, but still.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think every day is a learning day for my kid. I mean, we've just been playing memory game, Spider-Man memory game, where you turn over the tiles and you got to find you remember where they all are. That's all like, that's weights for the brain, right? That's kind of what that is. It's a workout for him.
Let's call a spade out. You flat out 7 days a week. You've got the whip over your lad, and you just do your work. Do your work.
It's more of a case of I've got to keep him entertained, otherwise he'll just drive me insane. It's really well. Let's introduce our guests. So today joining me is my cousin, actually, as a teacher, Samantha Preece. Today we're going to be talking about. It was called distance learning last year, but I think it's remote learning people are calling it now. Just try and calm a few nerves. Obviously, lockdown has affected a lot of parents. Thank you very much for joining me, Samantha.
No, it's a pleasure. If I can give any tips or kind of, give any advice to you poor parents out there, then I'll try and answer any questions. I know it's a difficult time for everybody, isn't it, at the moment?
Really is. Well, some more than others. I mean, and to bring in, I brought in a parent because it was your idea, Sam, bringing a parent, and so I threw in a comment in the parents group for our school. And Sarah Dodd, thank you very much for joining us, so we can have that perspective too. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, it's good. It's good. Now we've got that out the way. Shane, how have you been coping with this? I mean, obviously, your kids don't live with you, but have you been had to deal with any of the stress as a separated parent?
I've actually been quite fortunate, if I'm honest. The kid's mum, she's actually got 4 kids altogether, and she's homeschooling in 3 different key stages. And one of which is actually autistic. So she's had it hard, bless her. she's had a tough job. I mean, it's just a case really of just supporting her. I mean, during lockdown, I tend to have the kids every weekend, and whereas normally it's every other weekend, mainly just for support, because otherwise, I think she's gonna go insane because because she'll be homeschooling all week, and by the weekend she just so I take him every weekend for a break, and I just do as much as I can really. I just keep in touch with her and make sure that she's got everything she needs. So do you need anything? Do you need any pens or if you need me to do anything, I'll do it. And if she wants me to have one of the kids for a bit, or both of them, or whatever, I'm more than happy to do that, and so is my partner as well, because obviously I work, so I'm working in the day. So we just you'll kind of have to just band together a bit as a group. But no, me personally, my own personal situation, I'm quite sort of lucky in that respect. I kind of got away with it, but I do massively have respect for the kid's mum, because I couldn't do it.
How does she manage the 3 key stages, Shane? Is she
with difficulty, I believe. She essentially just sort of juggles them, and I think she just sort of wiggles their timetable around a little bit. So there's I think she's only got 1, maybe 2 computers, I think. So she just sort of like juggles them in and sort of Jengas them in a little bit, and sort of makes it fit that way. Uses different devices. For example, my daughter uses Seesaw. So that's she does her work on the mum's phone, because it's an app, so she just does it on her phone. So she's on the corner doing that, and she just sort of runs between them and does what she can really. This time round though, she sort of landed on her feet a little bit, because my daughter's actually this time around had a paper pack as opposed to the online sort of side of stuff. So she's going to be doing receiving literally a folder of work, and she can just pick and choose what she wants. So that obviously reduces the need for laptops and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And her other son is actually going to continue going to school, because he's obviously autistic, so he's going to be continuing going to school. And her eldest is he's sort of doing it himself, essentially sort of sorting himself out. My youngest is going to be going to school every morning, so she's only actually really got to deal with on a regular basis my daughter, really, this time round. So it's quite fortunate again on that side of stuff.
I think you brought up some very, very interesting points there, Shane. Actually, we can actually dissect all that throughout the whole podcast, and come up with something like the fact that there are paper packs ready to go. Sam, is it fair to say that schools were kind of expecting this to happen and possibly had a plan in place for when it did?
We obviously thought something might be happening, but it happened a lot quicker than we thought it would do. But we got our Google Classroom in place from last time, so it's been quite not easy, but the tools are there for us to, get straight on it. Last time I did send out a paper pack for the first 2 weeks, and that seems to work better with the younger children. So that they can dip in and out and do it in their own time. But this time it's on Google Classroom, but I do live Zooms with them as well. So the younger ones, they tend to like that interaction with the rest of the class. It's difficult. It's kind of like no scenario fits all, really.
Yeah.
Depends on each family in each class, I think.
Absolutely. And I remember last lockdown, our parents, Sarah's included in that, we're all kind of in touch during the first lockdown. The novelty was quite fun for a while. The kids would meet up on Zoom and we'd all be like, have you done this? How did you manage to do that? And what have you done for this? It was for about 2 weeks, Sarah. It was actually quite cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I found that we were all a lot more, we were all really banding together and supporting one another. And if somebody was struggling with one thing, because it was all brand new to us as well, we didn't have the resources to hand like you necessarily do in the classroom. And to be honest, we don't have anyone tidying up after ourselves either, It's like wherever we're doing our work generally, we're also cooking there and cleaning there and eating there as well. So it was nice to find people to speak to people who find other ways of getting around things and doing things a little bit differently than necessarily we would have done.
Yeah. And I think
it looks like she's having flashbacks to Vietnam.
Flashbacks to Vietnam. There was glitter everywhere, I tell you.
The band word in my house. I've got 2 girls and there's not a bit of glitter.
Definitely.
This year, it was a shock because it was kind of like, yes, from tomorrow the schools were closed, and everybody's kind of like, oh my god, they didn't have time to sort of plan things. What's that like for you, Sarah? Was that? I mean, for us, it was kind of easy, I guess, because I work nights, so I was kind of home for a little bit of it, and my wife works from home. But somebody that's juggling a tot as well, like it's not easy, is it?
Yeah, well, I've got my daughter's obviously in the same class as Timmy.
Yes.
So she's going to be 6 next month, and I have an 18-month-old as well. So they are at completely different stages of their development, but both also need me quite a lot for their work. So Kiva, my daughter, I can't necessarily leave her in front of the tablet to get on with her work. It's still brand new to her. She needs a lot of support, and she's a bright girl, but I can't just, leave her and let her fend for herself for half an hour while she gets on with it, which in turn means I sort of have to distract Eliza May in other ways. So I have to sort of put her in one room, maybe watching some telly or playing with some blocks, and just hope that that's enough to keep her occupied while I deal with Kiva. And it's a very fine balancing act where I have to just sort of make sure that I'm not letting one or both of them down. So I've taken it this time a much more relaxed approach with it, and I just figure that a stressed out mum isn't going to be any good for any of them, for me or for them. So we're just sort of easing into the day and doing what we can when we can, rather than sitting down and getting it all done in one go, which is what I sort of did last time round, which didn't really work. And this time, the school has been fantastic. We get 3 or 4 set tasks a day, and we can do them at leisure, at our own time and pace. So we've just sort of been going out for a walk, coming back, doing a bit of work, playing with some Play-Doh, doing a bit of work, just to keep them both entertained, getting it done. But I mean, it was
and
a shock.
that's the crux of it, isn't it? You can't really worry about the stuff that you're not doing. You could just have to concentrate on stuff that you can do, isn't it? That's all you could. Otherwise, you end up going insane. You can't do everything. You're one person, and if you've got two kids, or in many other people's cases more. You're one person. You can't divide yourself up into five places whilst also doing the dinner and keeping the house clean and doing all the other stuff that happens during the day. You're one person. You can only do so much, and I think that's something which a lot of teachers have acknowledged as well, which I think is very good.
Definitely. I think this time round, mental health is sort of like top of the list, really. And apparently there was a survey done, I wrote this down, and this was by Parent Kind, and it asked parents to prioritise what was their main aspect of all of this, that they thought was top of the list, and it was 70% said mental health and well-being. Yeah. So I think you're doing the right things, Sarah, there.
Yeah, well, that's sort of been my mantra for a while now, is just to be kind to myself and to others. I prioritise, in fact, most of the time, prioritise their girls' needs over my needs. They come before everything. But there's certain things that you have to sort of put yourself first in order to be the best version of you for them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, you're no good to them if you're on bone to your backside kind of thing. If you're crumbling away, you're no good to them, are you? You need to make. That's why they get you to put the airways on first, aren't they? Not the kids in an airplane.
Yeah. That's true, actually, isn't it? Yeah, it's like you can't.
It's very true.
An empty cup, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mental health for children is obviously really important. I mean, it's good to make sure mom and dad's okay, but I think there's got a balance between sort of who's got to be, because mom and dad's got to be okay to look after the kids, and the kids are got to be okay because of that, And we will try and find some advice and bits of like tasks and things to make things easier during this time. Have you been inundated with questions, Sam, by parents like, what can we do? Because it's not easy, is it? Yeah,
I've spoken to lots of sort of friends as well that are doing homeschooling
and family.
Actually, some are teachers, some are teachers and parents. So it's been really difficult. But the consensus really, with most of them, was less pressure on themselves, but some of them like to establish a routine. So get up at the same time, actually get dressed rather than sitting around in pajamas, but then maybe make a list of what they want to try and fit in during the day, but not keep it really strict. Because obviously if you've got small children like you, Sarah, you've got an 18-month-old, if you've got to go and change a nappy or, get snacks or whatever, it can't be so set in concrete, really. So it was kind of keep it flexible, and also lots of them like to spend a lot of time outdoors, going for walks, nature walks, cooking with the children where they can, those kind of things, just so that it's not all sat down and working.
When we came out of lockdown last time, did it take a long time to sort of put the kids right, Oi, this is how we do things now, but there's a lot of kids that had lost that routine of school and they've just got back into it now, and I was like, off you go back home again, let's lose that. Was that really hard for you guys to instill that back again?
In the classroom we found that some of them have gone back, but it's understandable. I think as a teacher, the advice to parents really would be, if you can keep up with their reading every day, little bit of writing. It doesn't have to be sitting down writing. It could be, can you write us a shopping list? Or you could set up a role play area in the house, like a little shop or something, just to keep them occupied, that you can bring those elements in, really, rather than it be so formal, because obviously you're not set up like a classroom. So it's just kind of like being more creative, really, with how they learn.
Very important. You can't be just like, I'll just put the subtitles on Netflix and I'll leave them to it. There we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that not okay?
Oh, damn it. So, like, there was a status that went up actually, and I'll be aware of this, where I'll mention him. There was Joel, who obviously is involved with Shrewsbury Prison.
He owns it now.
He homeschools his kids.
Yeah,
he owns it. Yeah, that's right. He homeschools his kids, and he made a comment saying about how actually it might be better fitting for a homeschool tutor to actually give advice to people that are homeschooling as opposed to curriculum teachers. You know, that your normal sort of I don't know how to word it really.
Teachers,
yeah,
classroom
kind
teachers,
of normal teachers. Classroom teachers. And that sort of sparked off quite an interesting one for me. I've been thinking about it ever since. And you said about being creative and sort of not necessarily drilling hard at them. You've got to write this, like, you know, how many word essay and things like that, you know. Would you say that if it comes to the crunch, especially if working from home, with regard to taking mental health and that into account, would you be sort of saying, right, okay, well, you don't necessarily have to do your English literature bit of work or whatever, but if you could go and learn how to make scrambled egg with your parents, then at least that's something you've learned. You know, it's a sort of erring towards kind of the homeschooling thing, but
yeah,
is that something you advise? At least learning something.
It depends on their ages, doesn't it? Obviously, when they're going into Key Stage 3, it's a lot more structured, isn't it? And they've got to be able to do that work to enable them to pass their GCSEs when they come back.
Yes.
But if they got to the point where you thought, gosh, they're struggling, then as a parent myself, I would be putting their mental health before doing their work. But obviously that's a personal choice, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose you have to make that judgment, don't you? And that's pretty much what I said in response. I said, well, it's all very well having a homeschool tutor, and I'm sure they could bring a lot to the table with regards to advice, because, you know, at the end of the day, it's a different setting, isn't it, from classroom to school?
Yeah, I do both. So I've got my classroom job, but I do homeschool tutoring as well.
Yeah.
And you do have to adapt it to the child. One little boy that I teach, he's autistic. And I could be sat with him doing a piece of work, and if obviously his concentration isn't, you know, brilliant, so I might say, right, go down there and do me 10 press-ups, or go down to a trampoline for 20 seconds, and he'll go off, and then I'll be like, right, come back now and write a sentence, and it'll be yay. So it's each child is individual, isn't it? And parents will know them best.
Yeah.
What I wanted to know as well is, Sarah, last time, is there anything that you learned during the last time we did this that has made it easier for you this time?
The thing last time I put far too much pressure on myself to get it all done, to get everything done. I've got the 2 kids, I've got a dog, I've got a house, I was doing some studying myself at the time. And I put too much pressure on myself to get it all done, to get up and get it all done right away. And in turn, I wasn't really doing my best by the girls because I was so stressed. But I was like, I can do this, as opposed to just saying, look, this is the work of 6 people. You're one person and you've never done this before. You've got no support from your family or friends. I mean, my partner's a key worker, so he was out until 9 o'clock each night. So you don't even have that backup that I would have if I had to have the girls at home because of any other reason. I could call on someone else to come and give me a break for half an hour. You know, there was none of that. So this time round, we get up at the same time every day because I've got an 18-month-old and she won't sleep past 6 o'clock. So no choice. But we're always dressed and fed by 8 o'clock. I try and keep to a similar sort of schedule as if we were getting up and leaving the house to go to school. We have a wonderful Zoom call with my eldest's class at 9:30 till 10. And then we have a little bit of a break. And then I see how they're both feeling. If my youngest is okay to sit down and sort of occupy herself a little bit, then I might do some schoolwork with Kiva. If not, I'll mix it up a bit. So this time I've just taken the pressure off everything And do you know what? We're getting every single task done every single day. We're getting out every day. And I'm also feeding them and keeping myself relatively sane just because I've taken the pressure off. And it might be that we're still doing some schoolwork at 5 o'clock. Shakiva can be sat doing some schoolwork while I'm cooking tea, as opposed to what I was trying to do before, get it all done before 11, 12, 1 o'clock. So
do you think that sort of ease of pressure has been made easier because the teachers understand that now and they've released some pressure as well?
Yeah, and I think everyone's just, well, it was completely unfamiliar territory to everyone, to every teacher, to every parent, to every child, bless them. Nobody knew what was going on. We didn't know that we were going to need all of these resources to hand. And I'm talking the basics. There's glue, there's scissors, there's sellotape, the writing pad, just all of it to hand as opposed to at the bottom of a drawer somewhere. Just the logistics of it all we didn't have them set up and in place properly. But now the teachers know a little bit more about what works, what doesn't. And I know that I certainly do at home. And I know most parents that I've spoken to are finding it a lot easier this time round. And they're being a lot more honest with what they can and can't achieve, as opposed to think, we can do this. 6 weeks is a long time to sort of kid yourself. And we might as well start off by being honest and think we can't do it all. There's no point in trying, just do what we can.
It's not even just 6 weeks, is it? It's the realisation I've done this for a whole year. And it's like, I can't do this for another 6 weeks. It's just not going to happen, and I think that it's really good that people are now starting to sort of speak up, and also teachers are acknowledging that as well and being like, you know what, that's absolutely fine, just do what you can. And you're like, if I'd have known it 12 months ago, I would have felt so much better about myself.
I'm also very much aware of how my behaviour impacts the girls' behaviour. So, and my attitude definitely does as well. If I'm stressed and agitated and feeling, despondent or disappointed because of something that had happened the day before, or we didn't get this done, then they pick up on it, and their mood affects my mood just as much as my mood affects theirs. So
this is the point I was making. I meant earlier, like it's like a fine balance between mental health between parent and child. And I just want to
be honest with them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I applaud you for recognizing that and making that change. But I mean, not everybody is that switched on. So, I mean, what would you say, Sam, to people that are struggling right now and they kind of they didn't know what to do with themselves? What would be your advice to them?
Do you mean in terms of doing the homeschool?
Yeah, to organize everything. There might be people with like 3 different key stages, like Shane's ex. There's people like Stacey who wrote in to want to come on the show, but we'd already got Sarah. She's got kids in 2 different key stages. There might be people that are really stressed about this. What would your advice be to them?
I think maybe try and be as organised as you can, and maybe prioritise the children that have got the live Zooms, because obviously they'll need to sit in on those, and maybe have a timetable or a calendar. You've got your home calendar. Maybe try and write in some of the times that they've got to be online. It's difficult, isn't it, when you've got the older and the younger ones? But I think the older ones, if you can set them up ready to go, and then get them up and running, and then go back to your younger ones, and you can do things as and when with them, but not put as much pressure on that. It is sort of like you're making sure that you read with them, and there are sort of things online. I know Phonics Play at the moment is free to parents, so it's dipping into different things with the little ones. But if it comes to a point where you're feeling like, I really can't cope with this, I'd just get everybody out for a walk. I think your mental health is more important.
Exactly.
I don't think I'm saying that as a teacher.
No, I really appreciate that. I really do, because,
But that's my personal opinion. But I think if your mental health's not right, you're not going to learn anyway.
Yeah.
No.
It's not an easy time. It's not an easy time.
I find that I'm far much more present when I'm out of the house as well. There's far less distractions and far less things to do, laundry to sort, tea to prep, or all that kind of stuff, just the general household stuff. If I'm out of the house with the girls, global pandemic or not, I'm much more present and available for them one-on-one, as opposed to getting distracted with things that I think need doing right away, rather than engaging with them.
it's priorities, isn't it, and survival, isn't it, at the moment? I think.
Yeah. I mean,
Crazy.
it seems like there's a lot more people ready for this time. I mean, I know it's not ideal, it's not brilliant, but CBBS, for example, they're putting lots of key stage work orientated programs up, so people can watch them, and there's lots of more resources online. What have you found, Sam, that's kind of worked for you better, or the people around you better? Online resources and places where people can go.
Yeah, I mean, we've got all our usual things like that the teachers use to prepare, like we've got White Rose Maths and stuff like that, Twinkle and things like that. So usually the teachers are setting that, and I think there's I just wrote this down here, there's an Oak Academy that do online videos as well.
Wow.
So that's free. There's also a site called Brain Pop, which does science and maths and English.
Brain Pop.
There's one called Tinker. I need to have a look at this one. It's spelled with a Y, Tynker, and that's all to do with computer coding for children. So I thought that might be quite nice. And there's also one called Creative Bug, where you can do lots of arts and crafts. So I think that's a good mindfulness activity for the kids to do. To get away from doing, the core subjects.
I mean, things like Twinkle are great if you've got a printer.
Exactly, I know. But Pinterest is really good for ideas as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, the
Pinterest
first lockdown, I was printing out sneakily at work. You didn't hear this. Nobody at work listens to this show. But I was like, Twinkle stuff. They're great.
Twinkle Man.
Yeah. And they do not, they don't stop reminding you that they exist, in all honesty. It's kind of like my emails like, twinkle, 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 twinkle.
I know. But they are really good resources.
Yes, yeah.
But I think you can't just rely heavily on that. A friend of mine, she's got 2 different key stages, and she sets her children up to work because she's working from home as well as a teacher. And she's got a nice little thing going with them where they she sets the dining room table out the night before, puts their stuff on it, then they decide in the morning what they've got to do, so they make a list together. And the deal is with the kids, I think Louis and Arthur are sort of like 6 and 8. So it's like, those are the things on your list that need doing today. But if you want to get down and go and play, or if you want to go in the garden, you can do. It's up to you. But no screen time until after all those things are ticked off.
Yes.
And that's worked really well. She gives them stickers. They put things on there like drink 3 glasses of water, or go and give your teddy a hug, little things like that. But it just keeps it fun and less pressure, I think.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, there's nothing but positive. I think there's nothing but positive about that. But it's when the kids come back to school and they're like, "Where's my sticker? What's going on here?"
I'm going through chocolate coins like nobody's business at the moment.
One thing that my the kid's mum is finding is that there's a bit of an issue at the moment with my youngest son. Well, actually, my middle son. Her youngest son, is that he's actually more forward than what's actually than his class, if you know what I mean. So at the moment he's 5, and he can read Hungry Caterpillar, but not a problem. He can read a lot of other books and stuff. He can read a lot more than actually I really realised, and when he read a text over my shoulder, and I was like, oh right, okay, I better start being careful with that now. But like, he's getting work through. One task he had the other day was to count to 6, and we were like, he can do that in his sleep. What
was his task again? Sorry, what was it?
To count to 6.
And how old?
And like 5. I was like, what? Like, they're still doing phonetics at school, and like
reception, is he?
He's 5, so that'd be
reception.
Yeah, it's reception, isn't it? Yeah. But like, he can read really well and stuff. The only thing which lets him down is his behaviour, because he's a little bit of a naughty kid. Yeah, he can read really well. So at the moment, we're finding that a lot of the school stuff that's coming through for him is is actually really easy, and he's getting bored with it. So we're just sort of finding our own stuff to do with him.
Just chuck him a Grisham novel. Here you go. I'm joking. Don't listen.
Well, he's obsessed about space, so he's watching lots of like YouTube documentaries. I think that's what his mum did on the first lockdown. Certainly, was that because his work was so easy for him. She was putting like these documentaries on the TV from YouTube and things like that. And he's watching all these sort of information-based documentaries. And now he can tell you how many moons like the planets have got. All the dwarf planets. I didn't even know there's that many dwarf planets. Like, and he's teaching me stuff. It's
why don't you set him up with maybe a challenge, like for a project on something?
The problem is with him is his attention span. He struggles with his attention. That's one of the reasons why he's a bit naughty. But he's all right. He's a good kid, and he's very clever. And I think that I kind of feel that there's going to be other parents out there that's going to be in the same kind of boat. I just wanted to sort of make that noted that they're not the only one. There are kids out there that are more advanced than the work's coming to them. I think it's about, like you said, harking back to what you said before about being creative, isn't it? And just sort of using your noggin a little bit. And
and children learn in different ways, don't they? Some like to sit down and do writing. One of my daughters, she's severely dyslexic, but she's very creative. She's ended up with a master's in fine art, but she really struggled at school to do writing and maths. But she found what she was good at. So maybe this is an opportunity for children to find out what they're good at.
Yeah.
Away from maths and writing.
One of the things that I've done with my eldest, who eats me out of house and home, like you wouldn't believe my shopping bills go through the roof during lockdown. I've given her £1 in different denominations of money, so a couple of 10p's, a couple of 20p's, some 2p's, etc. And I've written a little menu and I've stuck it up on the wall so she can have some fruit for 50p, for 20p. She can have a chocolate for this much, and she can have a pack of crisps, and she can spend that throughout the day. And that's she just loves it. She feels like she's going to the shop, and it's helping her with her math and recognising numbers and pennies and different coins and things. And it's helping me.
I think that is amazing. That is amazing. I love that. I really love that. Like, funny enough, my the kid's mum is doing it almost exactly the same. She's starting to teach them about money. They're getting pocket money, but they're having to do jobs for it. Like, just your stereotypical jobs to earn money. And actually, my daughter, she messaged me the other day because it's just been my daughter's 8th birthday. And she messaged me saying, if you get any money from anybody from your side kind of thing for a birthday, can you give it to her and make sure it comes back to me, because she's saving up her money for a certain toy. And I was like, oh right, okay. First I sort of knew that she was saving, but I was just a little bit mind blown that my 8-year-old had the capacity and had the forethought to be able to say, I want that toy, it's going to cost this much, I need to save up my money.
And I was like, she'll be counting the money, won't she?
Honestly, and she was there going through her birthday money, and she was like, "Oh, I've got enough now. Like, I can get my toy." And I was just like, I wish I'd have known that, because I probably bought a house by now. Like, I'd be a millionaire if I could save. Like, from when I was 8 years old, I'd be quids in. I'd be done.
Life skills, see?
Yeah,
I know. I missed that, didn't I?
I was trying to teach. Timmy's new job is to set the table for dinner. And so he knows how to put the knife and fork down, and the napkin as well. So we fold the napkin, we put the knife and fork down on there, because it's a bit more practical. And he was like, we could just wrap the knife and fork in the napkin. And I was like, no, Timmy, we're not in we're not Weatherspoons. And he slapped it down on the table. He goes, Dad, I said nothing about spoons, and stormed off. Wow. Yeah.
That's you told.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I did post about it on Facebook, but I thought I'd let the listeners know that my little boy's, as soon as he turned 6, as soon as it was 6th birthday, bam, attitude. I was just like, wow, where does that come?
Usually 6 or 7, it appears, doesn't it? Attitude.
Can we focus a bit on the social aspect of what's going on at the moment? Because I think it's really important for kids to develop a natural social network from friends around them. Has it been a concern for a lot of your parents, Sam? Have people been concerned about the kids not seeing their friends in school?
Yeah, I mean, it has been, especially for children that haven't got any siblings. So they're not actually interacting with other children on a daily basis. So that it can be difficult for those children. I think that's why the online Zooms are important. Because although you're not there physically, you're still getting to chat, aren't you, and see each other and just feel like you're part of something. But yeah, it's really difficult.
Yeah, it's nice. It's always nice when you drop the kids off at school and they're all running around on the playground before the door opens, and they're all playing together. That's always really nice to see. But it's heartbreaking.
And then all the kids go into the school, and all the parents like running around the playground. Like,
Brunch. Go get breakfast from Weatherspoons. Yeah,
Weatherspoons is where we run into.
This week in class, we did some chat about what our wishes for 2021 were. So this was with reception children, and one of the little girls, Jess, she said that her wish for 2021 was to be able to hug her friends because she really missed them. And I just thought, wow, that just brings it back. The impact on the small ones, yeah.
My daughter found a feather on the floor the other day, and she went to pick it up. I was like, no, don't pick up anything off the floor.
Is that a slow motion moment where you're like, no?
She said, can I still make a wish? Can I still make a wish? And I said, yes, you can make a wish. She said, you can't listen. I'm not listening. But she turned around, closed her eyes, and put her hands together and said, I wish that everything was back to normal. I was just like, the impact it has on them, I've tried to keep as much as I can from her, in terms of the news and the rates and God knows what else, all of that just is completely alien to her, but she's impacted by it in so many other ways, I
mean, another aspect of it as well is it's slightly on a bit of a sideline to what we're talking about here is new mums. People with babies, newborn babies, and it's something because I've got his 11-month-old baby here, and he spent pretty much the entire of his life in a house, give or take. Certainly a massive percentage of time in this house. He hasn't gone anywhere. He hasn't been anywhere. He's been out I think he's been in the car 3 times since he's been born. But then you've also got the aspect of the impact it has on the mums as well. Because normally you'd have baby groups and mix with other mums and get advice and all that kind of stuff. All that's gone, completely gone. Yeah. And with me working and stuff, luckily I work from home now, so I've been around. But if I wasn't like that, say if I was a key worker and I had to go to work, she'd have had to literally have done all of that completely on her own. And I think that can be scary for some people. Certainly people that are single mums that have just had a baby and stuff. It's daunting.
It's tough, isn't it?
Let alone having to homeschool and have all this pressure, and it's just horrid, isn't it? It's a horrible time at the moment.
The whole world is turning to virtual needs and ways of doing things, and I'm really happy to see. I mean, you're talking about Sam as well, but like Colum, they've been mixing up they do the register with Zoom as well, which is nice. They kind of integrate Zoom and that technology with the kids, so they have that social aspect. I mean, I'm just looking now to see if there's any sort of virtual baby sensory classes. Maybe you can look for one. If there isn't one, start one and make some money, because baby sensory classes are always really good for stuff like that.
Biscuit, Shrewsbury Biscuit, baby sensory.
There we go.
We'll talk about that later.
Rolling in it. All right, guys, welcome to Big Al's Baby Sensory.
£3 a month.
Yeah. This is a podcast. Look at the light. Look at the way you move. No, I'm joking.
That was rubbish.
You need to do more of a David Attenborough voice, mate.
No, it's got to be that one. Yeah, it's a struggle for everyone at the moment, and I just want to take a moment just to sort of say thank you to the teachers out there, to the schools, for persevering, really, because You see a lot of negative comments out there on Facebook about every aspect of this pandemic, but you forget, right? The teachers are in the same boat that we're in. Like they've tried their best. I mean, for example, Colum, they turned the street into a school street. They closed off half the street so people can walk and space out on the roads. They've been amazing with spacing the parents out when the kids come out from school. And I think everybody that's involved in this, if you've come up with a plan to try and make things better, then hats off to you, because nobody else is doing that.
I'm fortunate to work in a really good school. I'm at Bedstone College, which caters from 4-year-olds right up to 18-year-olds. And they have just done absolutely everything you can think of to make life easier. I wouldn't want to be a head teacher, I don't think, at this point in time.
No, I reached out to a few schools for people, and I was like, I can't get a teacher. I was like, I know, my cousin's a teacher. But yeah, so I appreciate.
So Sam, what's your top tips for mums then?
For mums
and dads.
Well, mums and dads. Sorry, parents. My bad.
Homeschooling.
Yeah.
I'd say make it small and often in terms of their learning, short and often. Try and keep it simple, vary it up, do the creative, do the writing, do the numbers, try and bring it into the home life. Like you were saying, Sarah, about, with your tuck shop, with your using the money, just try and make it fun. I think we're losing that element of, fun because of the pressure, aren't we, really? So if you can make it a bit silly or a bit more, child friendly, even like cooking the tea, they could be writing a menu. It's just trying to keep it, simple, and just do exactly what Sarah's doing, really, and take the pressure off yourself, look after yourself as well. Maybe not drink so much wine.
I don't know about that one.
Teachers do it too. Be kind to each other.
Yeah, and that's actually a perfect segue into what I was going to say, was that, me and Sarah are part of a parents group for our class. I'm sure there are lots out there. If there isn't one, start one. Voice your concerns. Tell people what worries you.
Money.
Tell people what you're worried about and have discussions about these things. Don't bottle it up. If you've got genuine concerns and you don't know how to do something, if you're stuck on the long division or the algebra or something like that, how do you do this? How can I help? Google it. Look for ways to do these things, because
and speak to the teachers, because they're there to help, aren't they? They want to help. So don't be afraid to ask your child's teacher for help if you need
Absolutely. It. Enton?
What?
Well, you had your finger up. That was the signal.
Oh, no. I was saying struggle with algebra. I was like... No.
Oh, okay.
You needed the
toilet. Sarah, so what's your top tips for other parents that are homeschooling?
Well, just to recap on what I said before, make it fun, make it engaging, think outside the box. It doesn't have to be the generic ABCs 1, 2, 3s. It could be sitting through and reading a magazine, picking out letters. I printed off a nature hunt on Twinkle the other day, and I randomly found a laminator in the back of the cupboard, and I laminated it, and on the back of the nature hunt I wrote down the letters for my girls' names, and we went for a little walk, and my eldest was spotting her names in registration plates and house names and street signs and ticking off the letters of her names as she found them. And, that also sort of letter recognition had worked well for my 18-month-old as well. And we choose point out colours of the doors and things like that. Just anything to break up the monotony of sitting and staring at a screen is all extra education for my eldest. And then when she does sit in front of a screen, she's had enough distractions and enough of a break that she's happy to sit and engage for half an hour, 40 minutes which she's just not used to. We're not a screen loving family really, and certainly Colum isn't a screen loving school. So for her, this is all brand new this time round. So I have to try and break it up a little bit. So top tips: keep it simple, keep it fun. Try and keep them engaged, and just be kind to yourself as well. And if you're struggling with something, chances are there's 100 other people that you can think of that are also struggling with it as well. It's not anything to be ashamed of. This is unprecedented, as is the word.
Yeah, I mean, I did think about.
It's just the parents, isn't it?
Say again, sorry.
I said it's about reaching out to the parents as well, isn't it? And about why lacking.
Yeah, I didn't get any of that. But
I think his connection's breaking up.
Yeah, I think there is an issue across Shrewsbury at the moment where a lot of people's internet's gone down, apart from mine, which is lucky. Yeah.
Maybe it's being used a lot more now.
Maybe it's because I'm using all the internet because my internet's great. I've got all of Shrewsbury's internet coming towards me. It's great. I mean, like I was gonna create a do's and don'ts sort of list for this episode, but I don't think that's the right way to do it, is it? You can't have a definitive do's and a definitive don'ts because it's what works for you, isn't it, individually? Yeah.
It is, and especially you've got to think of the parents as well, the key workers that might be out of the house all day and have to leave their older children at home. That must be really difficult because you don't know if they're doing the work or not. So every family is different, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely.
It's difficult.
I mean, I'm kind of lucky because me and my wife, we're both key workers. So Timmy's actually in school now, which does worry me a little bit, obviously, because schools are closed for a reason. But, the teachers that have stayed behind to do this job and make sure it's done properly, hats off to you as well. I mean, brave, very, very brave for doing that, because it's a dire situation we find ourselves in. And hopefully this doesn't last too long. And we don't get many more of these. But I guarantee it that if it does, all the teachers have got a plan. They've got us. They're looking after us. So, thank you very much. Look, we're running out of time. Has anybody got any more questions or anything they want to ask before we get out of here? No.
How long do you think it'll last for?
I think that we're still going to be talking about this. Sort of April, May, at least.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be a quick fix, is it?
Yeah, it's not going to be a quick fix. No, I mean this lockdown period, I'm hoping it ends sort of February and people just behave themselves. And then, but Boris is kind of like, well, you see what happened last time, it'll happen again. I like Kiva, just want things to go back to normal. I want to be able to hug my mates again. I want to be able to open up the studio. I want to go out and do nice things. I've had to cancel so many amazing things that we had planned. And my little boy, I want him to play with his friend. We want it all to be done, but it can't be rushed. Once this is relaxed and the schools are open again, just take it easy, people. Let's do it step by step.
But isn't it going to be wonderful when it all goes back to normal?
Oh, God, yes.
I was supposed to be going to Australia this year to see my son, but obviously can't go.
Yeah.
Yet, but fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We were supposed to be in October. We were supposed to go to America and see all my pod mates and stuff. And I'm going to Zante as well this year, later on in the year. So it better sort itself out because I want to go Greece and get a suntan. Look, guys, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. Sarah, I know you've got a very interesting Instagram account that I think is awesome, by the way. Would you like to tell people, steer people towards that? Because it's got lots of facts and tips for parents.
Oh, okay. Well, if you want to see far too many pictures of my children and our daily walks and the occasional funny meme, then I am Sarah and the Wildlings on Instagram.
It is fun. It's not a lot.
Sounds good.
Sam, have you got any like places for people to visit for regular advice? Any Instagram pages or Facebook pages that people can join for regular advice?
I did come across a really good one, which was a PSHE one, which is sort of like personal, social, health, education. And there's a guide on there for parents, and that was www.pshe-association.org.uk. So there was a few things on there that might help people. But, if anybody's got any specific questions, they could always pass them through you, couldn't they, Alex?
Absolutely. Yeah, please do. And what I'll try and do is I'm going to very quickly try and organise something similar for next week for secondary school kids. Maybe we can tackle that as well. So if anybody wants to get involved with that, please get in touch. This is going to be released in 2 days, so there's plenty of time. But yeah, we'll do something because I was trying to help people. It's not an easy time. So, right, let's get out of here, though, because we've been doing this for a while. Thank you so much for joining me. Shane, always, mate. You're always great. Thank you very much, even though you've been struggling today with your internet.
I'm struggling.
Right, guys, this has been amazing. I like to steer people towards our amazing website, which is awesome. It's just www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk. That's made for us by our friends at Web Orchard. If you need a website, make sure you go and see them, and Pete White will sort you out with a great looking website. He's just made a new one for me for the US, UK, USUC stuff that I do, and it's always looking great there. So make sure you check them out, and we will catch you guys next time. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Peace out.
Thanks very much.